Hello, everybody. I'm sorry I only tried to push that button 3 times. Whatever. It's just past noon, so here we are for the Saturday Rad Chat with the Rad Mom in the garden. But I'm gonna go get my hairbrush. So nobody here yet, I don't think. I'm gonna go get my hairbrush. Yeah, you were on my bed, and you know I don't want you on my bed, stupid dog. There it is. I want to say that I'm not exactly ready for prime time today, but that would be every day. That would be every day. But we've had the stuff. The thing, the big sick, we called it, for the kids. We finally got ours. I finally got mine, you could say. Oh, and the tail on that beast is long. That's what I had heard, and it has proven itself to be true. The tail on this beast is long. How do I bring this thing down just a little bit so I can see if there's actually anyone here or not? Why would... Oh, there it is. Hello. It says there are 2 people. Hello. What's up, everybody? How's your Saturday going? What up, Susie? How you doing? You having a good weekend? Did you watch the video? It was a bit less than usual this week. I just got done saying we had the Ovid K, the bad sick. We had that in the house the last couple weeks. So I've been wrung out. And then I sat down to film last night, and the cat fell through the top. So, it just doesn't get much better than that, right? This doesn't get much better than that. Oh, but basically, this trad wife thing is weird. Yeah, no, it is, but it isn't any weirder than a lot of the other stuff going on. It's my point. It's that all the stuff that creator Kilgore had said made these people look fashy. All of it applies to the TRAs. All of it. To a T. And I just thought, she's not wrong. But the points she's making sound awfully familiar to me. So, initially I had wanted to, dig up a couple examples of trans performativity to sort of, have them as a juxtaposition, but I think most of us here are pretty familiar with that. It's all born out of a porn-saturated culture. Yeah, I think that could be a big part of it. But I kind of get it, too. As far as where does role play end and a lifestyle begin? I think this is a question many people have had to ask themselves of lots of different flavors. Especially since, role play of one kind or another is expected, I think. Like, it's expected of us, regardless of porn. It doesn't help. But, I have struggled with some of these own same, impulses? Is a word? Myself, I can't blame porn. Because I don't really watch it. And I never really did, so... In my individual, I can't blame the porno, but that's definitely a factor. But like I told my kids, that learning about love and sex from porno is like learning about conflict negotiation from action movies. That is not what they're for. Cheers. I can't wait for the first trans wife lifestyle video from a Tim. It'll be hilarious. You know what? I bet it's already out there. The one that I'm waiting for is the one who thinks he's the Virgin Mary. I can't wait for that guy. Because that's actually fairly common among women of a certain... Yeah. And you know what? If the guy who thinks he's the Virgin Mary produces wifey content, I'm going to laugh my ass off because he'll be the wife of Christ, right? I mean, it's just like, oh, not that Mary was the, you know what I'm saying, like a nun stuff, like old school nun stuff. You know, I'm waiting for the moment when the religion part of it begins to dovetail with, you know, faith of other sorts in people's minds. It's probably already happening. I wager they know that they're a little off the ball. They're a little off kilter. They're at first immaculate conception from a right. Well, and it would have to be, wouldn't it? Oh, it would. But like, I'm just like, Catholicism has such rich symbolism. It's always been very popular among, like, the occultists in the 19th century love to steal that symbolism, and, you know, modern occultists, their Satanism and whatever, love to steal that symbolism. It's very powerful symbolism, and it's popular for being reappropriated by newer schools of thought, if you know what I'm saying. And but it is a deep pool, and I would not go wading in there without a life preserver myself. But people do. And I just can't wait. That's going to be some fun stuff. You know what? It suddenly occurs to me that with the way they treat them in the Middle East, that content we're talking about probably exists in Arabic. We shouldn't say this stuff out loud on the internet. It gives them new ideas for appropriating female experience. Yeah, and like, I don't know that the Virgin Mary was a female experience that anyone actually had to be appropriated, but yeah. I guess what I'm saying is there's a whole lot of junk involved in like the female experience, and I'm really looking forward to them getting bored with the obvious shit, because they have to always be constantly forging new frontiers, right? Eventually they're going to get bored in the bathroom. As sick as that is. Yeah, but I wager somewhere in the Middle East, I hear in Iran, they notoriously will rather have you be a trans woman than a gay man. So, yeah. Trad content for that demographic probably already exists in Arabic. With some fun Islamic overtones, even, maybe. Hooray. They've already trans Jesus, so yeah, right? I read briefly about that, and I think that was what gave, a few years ago, and I think that was what gave me this idea. But like, do you remember exactly the logic there? Because I don't. Could you remind us exactly what... that Jesus was a trans woman? I mean, that'd be kind of funny. Because that would make... Yeah, death or trans, there is no gay in Iran. Sad that Western world thinks that is progressive. Yeah, they are fucked in the head if they think that's progressive. I don't understand. I thought we all lived through the last 25 years together. You know, maybe some people are younger than that, but like, we just did the whole gay rights thing. We just did that. So that's aggravating. But, you know, if there were some sad little boy confused enough to think that, his faith supports all this, that'd probably be where you would look. But so I think that this same impulse is active in all different, like, corners of the political and social spectrum. Okay, I think that the urge to act something out is basically, well, yes. What? I love you. Unbelievably insane how we can regress decades when lunatics are listened to and elevated. Yeah. What the fuck was I saying before I was interrupted for no reason? What the I was in the middle of something. As usual. They know I'm fucking working too. They know I'm fucking working. Yep. Anyhow, I was driving at something and I completely lost it. Ugh. Did your power go out last night? That was funny in the video, by the way. Almost. No, the power didn't go out. We have, here, I'm going to tip you up. We have a tarp above us. And the cat was walking on it. So, yeah, it just kind of came down past the lamp that I have hanging, and the light is there. There it is. There's the lamp. See that? So the tarp came down over the lamp. And then I was in the dark. Yeah. So it was a black cat. I was just the wind. Yeah. It was black cat. So, it almost seems appropriate, right? Like almost. And the wind will have its say. But the tarp is weighted and tied down. It's not going anywhere. How very Friday the 13th. Right, exactly. That's what I thought. As far as that, it couldn't be more perfect. And I thought I'd leave it in for a little bit of fun for you guys. You see what I deal with. And that part of Kilgore's video is actually my favorite part anyway. I was going to let her just kind of say a lot of that anyway, because I thought that was some pretty solid analysis. Like I say, I just didn't think she took it broadly enough. I didn't think she took it far enough. That's what I was saying. I was finally going to make the point of all of this, which is that I think this urge towards performativity exists in many, many, many corners and stripes of the socio-political spectrum. Hey, Rad, what do you think of Cenk Uygur is running for president? Has he got your vote? I saw that. I do not know yet. This is Mr. Why are $5 prostitutes bad? So I don't know. I know him too well, and I have biases against him that are unrelated to such things. Mainly, who is he running for? Is he running as an independent? He's not trying to be a Democrat because, boy, there's a packed field. But he's not going to go as a Republican because it's Cenk. I mean, they would laugh him out of the fucking room, right? I mean, mainly I'm just happy that someone else, social media, has created the life as a performance atmosphere. Totally bizarre. See, I don't think so. Go and look at old footage of Woodstock and tell me if you don't think any of those people are performing for each other and themselves. Seriously. He can't run. He was born in Turkey. It's a grift to sell his book. Damn, I was really just kind of happy that somebody else was entering the fray. You know, some fresh grist for that mill would be really nice. Oh well. Yeah, Democrats. Yeah. Okay, that's right. He is Turkish, isn't he? Whatever. This would be the only country where a name like that wouldn't be a giveaway. Because there are many people in the United States with strange names who were born here. Hi, Grandma. I'm leaving Ocean City right now. I'll be home in like 2 hours. Hopefully, you'll still be streaming it. Ooh, I hope so. I don't know. We'll have to see. It's a quiet day around here so far, so maybe. I'm glad to see you, Mary. I'm glad you're around. Um, but yeah, I don't know that social media has created the lifers performance thing. I think it has ubiquitized it. Like such a thing used to be out of the reach of your average person. Somewhat about Woodstock, I suppose, but social media is a brand new 24/7 platform. Oh, love you, Mary. Be safe, girlfriend. Yeah, no, it's definitely affected things. It definitely has. But I think all it's done is taken something that existed in the human psyche anyway and blown it the fuck up. Right? I don't think social media invented anything. It just has, honed it, to a white hot center where that's radiating out and nobody can ignore this stuff now. But I think that if we are trying to say that it, created stuff, aside from the social media itself and that experience, but how we interface with that experience, life as performance art is not a new idea. It just used to be the purview of people who had the time and the resources to think like that. Brought out the narcissism in all of us. The reflecting pool was the first social media. well, now again, and I want to point out that like narcissistic qualities are good for you to a certain extent. Okay. It is the self-serving aims that you should have, because your life should revolve around you. That is okay. That are tempered by, care and consideration of those around you and the fact that you need them to be a person, like a large part of our perception of the world and ourselves and the stuff that happens around us is based in this interplay between us and other people. Like if you see something crazy, your first instinct is to turn to the closest person and ask them if they saw it too, right? So, like, that's just how we are. But it's this push for that. It's this push for you have to be the hero of your own story, because you are either on a hero's journey or you are completely inept at life. What up, Philological? Okay, so you have to have your hero's journey. You can't just live a life. That's not good enough. Life revolving around your image on a screen is not living for yourself. Right. Well, what is yourself? Okay, again, we do a lot of our building of our internal concepts of ourselves in the world with interplay through interplay with other people. Okay, that's just how we roll. And if those other people are in there, yeah, I can see how that might, warp your perception of things. Again, I am too old, really, to have this problem. We had the internet in my house in 1996. I used to use it to read Doctor Who forums. But, I decided that there wasn't really anything super interesting on there and abandoned it for about a decade. And I'm not even kidding. Oh, excuse me. I am still getting over the the stuff, the bad. Ooh. And it's warm over here. Oh, gosh. I actually suspected the other way around. That the book was preparation for his presidential run. That would make sense too. But Susie's got a good point. Pretty sure you have to be born here. So, yeah. What a yutz. He better have a good point. Other than just buzz for his fucking book, he better have a point he's making. And knowing him, I have some hope that he has some sort of a larger point he's trying to make. Maybe along the lines of there ought to be another path to political office than having been born here. There's a conversation that might be worth having. I'm too old too. I'm bedbound lately due to illness, so I thank God for the connection of this medium to remain. Right. So it's not all bad. It's not. It's a tool, and it's how you use it, right? Because you can use social media to create for yourself an entirely performative persona, which, you then wield your life towards maintaining. That would be pretty straightforwardly narcissistic. Yeah. That would be you building yourself a fun little mental disorder, is what that would be. Because, that's not the ultimate truth of who you are. And behaving as though it is, you're going to give yourself problems. But he has to legally challenge the rule, which he, in my opinion, won't have the time for before registration for the primaries. Yeah. I don't know when that is. But the election's next year, so yeah, probably not. He should know this. Like, man, you want to talk about a guy who's been following the American political cycle for a while. Cenk Uygur knows this. He knows better than that. So that's what I'm saying. It doesn't... I mean, I'm ready to be disappointed, but I'm hoping he's making... Feel bad for Anna. She clearly doesn't want him to do this. Oh, no! Oh, no! Oh, no. See... I've been wondering when they were going to break up, like, professionally, for a while. Because... well, they just don't seem to like one another all that much. They don't need to work together. They don't have to work together, do they? They don't, right? And the Young Turks has certainly had its fair share of people come and go over the years. I don't know. I think right now she feels like she's some sort of bulwark over there because of what she was saying in that podcast interview a while back about how they will just kind of run with shit, and now she's not letting her team do that anymore. She's actually insisting on due diligence because of a mess that she got into, I think, earlier this year. You imagine they'll break up over it. Yeah, maybe. I think they both have had their eyes open to the radical extremist side of the left in recent months and the last week. What happened in the last week? I haven't been watching. Don't tell me that Israel attacked Gaza because I know that. Or Gaza attacked Israel because I know that. But, like, I don't know, something about Warhawks. Like, I can't. I just can't believe they're still doing this. you know, and Hubs is trying to keep track of it, and I just told him, I'm like, I can't listen to that shit. I can't, like, if something important happens, please do let me know. But like, a bunch of people were killed is not a fucking headline in war. It's not. I don't want to hear about it. I don't want to. I can't. And I don't know if this is obvious, but it's not because I don't care. And if you're surprised that the Democrats are war hawks, where the fuck have you been for the last 20 years? Where the fuck have you been? Oh, I'm sorry. Did Afghanistan end and everybody fucking forgot about that? Did everybody fucking forget about that? Really? The radical left's reaction to terrorism was shocking to everyone, but perhaps what was it? I didn't see it. I don't know. I don't follow those people. I really don't like I think Anna's arc is interesting and coming from a genuine place, right? But Cenk is a destroyer of straw men and can't seem to tackle issues with sincerity. Right. And he seems to think that reducing his opponent's argument to a straw man is what makes him so smart. Which I don't know how you tell a guy like that that's not how that works. Oh. But like, Afghanistan, that's all I would say about that. Cenk seems to think in slogans and sound bites. Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, a lot of it obviously comes from what he's been doing all these years. He kind of is a soundbite on most issues, at least. Right. He kind of is a slogan and a soundbite, like in human form at this point. And somebody needs to tell him that if you stare too long into the abyss stares back into you, right? At least that's the vibe I get. Like, I don't know. I feel like he won't. He was earnest 20 years ago. Whenever it was he started this, I mean, fuck. I seem to remember seeing them on the cable back in the day. Am I imagining that? Like, I think he's been doing this a long time. I want to say I remember seeing him on like CNN or MSNBC back in the day, right? Or maybe y'all don't know. Y'all are British. Susie, are you British too? Neither of them are deepest thinkers on any subject. Well, right. But that's because if you're a deep thinker, you don't go into journalism or politics, you go into philosophy, right? And some of those guys have channels too now. They're better. Oh my goodness. Oh, Bahamian. Okay, cool. That's right. You're down in the tropics where it's beautiful but not paradise because it's life like anything else. Okay, so that makes me the one American in the group at the moment. Well, okay, I'm pretty sure that Shank et al. Used to be on the cable back in the day. And then they made the hop to the internet at some point. Exactly when that was, I don't know. But it was the kind of thing I'm flipping through YouTube at some point a decade ago, and I saw them and I went, oh hey, it's those guys, and recognized them, and I'm far from the only one. That's one of the reasons they have the big audience that they do. If not the reason, probably. I'm the only American here. That's too terrible. That's terrible. You guys deserve the real thing. Little cat feet is saying hello, good night, because it's 2:30 in Australia and I should really go back to sleep. Oh, okay. Sleep well. There's just really no way to do this so that it's good time for everybody, is there? Because it's the middle of a Saturday afternoon for me. Yeah, I would love to, make it so that everyone can work this into their schedule in a nice low stress way. But is Mary not here? Mary is American. She stopped by to let us know that she's on her way home from Ocean City, and she's gonna stop back in when she gets home in a couple of hours. But yeah, technically, I am the only American in the group right now. Ooh, that's so funny. You have no idea how funny that is. Uh, and kind of sad. Like, you guys deserve the real genuine article. He was on the net, went to MSNBC for a short stint, but they wanted to reduce his airtime, so he walked. Ah! You know, I hadn't heard that, but that all seems to fit with what we know of him, doesn't it? Yup. Oh, that's too funny. What a yutz. Hey? Yeah, Mary's not here. I don't get to use my Yiddish. What a tool. And not in the good way. What a narcissistic thing to do. I mean, it's only the biggest, network on the planet. They didn't give him enough airtime. Oh, so sad. So sad. As for whether or not he would have my vote, like I say, I would. He claims a conspiracy that Washington asked MSNBC to remove him because he's dangerous. Now listen. I don't know if everyone knows this about the United States government, but if they want you gone, you are gone. The fuck is that? And I'm not even saying anything that's like a conspiracy theory or anything. Like, this is true. This has all been declassified. They have a tendency of, if they don't like you, you just sort of become not a problem anymore. Which I suppose would be, what up, Red? Which I suppose would be an incendiary comment about one's own citizens. I'm not talking about anything specifically, necessarily. You can use your imagination there, but, too many people are mega conspiracy brain these days. See, that is because there is so much weird shit going on, and, any one of the powers that be are sitting there going, I don't see anything. It looks fine to me. I don't see anything. But shit is weird and getting weirder by the day. So yeah, I don't know. The fact that people are scrambling to come up with explanations for this shit, that makes sense to me. You know, and again, the older you get, the more you kind of notice these patterns. And the fact that these things are so statistically unlikely to go the way they do on their own. You know, or the fact that shit goes the way that it shouldn't in the same fucking way over and over and over and over again. Like, what's the latest trial of somebody who got shot that's going to be racially divisive? I don't know. We haven't had one of those for a couple of years, but that's literally the way it goes every fucking time. Okay, as if we have no memory. As if as a group we complete amnesia. Okay, about OJ, about Trayvon Martin, about, like, I could name half a dozen of these if I thought about it. These cases that are not necessarily, like, the Trayvon Martin was a Hispanic dude who shot a black kid. What the fuck does that have to do with white people at all, necessarily? I don't know. The Hispanic guy's name was George Zimmerman. I think a lot of people weren't so familiar with that case and thought the guy with the gun was a white guy, based on their reactions to it. And I just, what is this? It doesn't even make sense. That case should divide people, black versus white. That doesn't even make sense. Okay? Why the fuck did the coverage have that effect? To be fair with a name like Zimmerman. Yeah, right, that's what I'm saying. A lot of people thought he was a white dude because they hadn't seen him. George Zimmerman is a clearly Latino individual. He must be Brazilian with a name like that. But, like, he is not a white dude. There was no white dude involved in that case at all. Okay? So I don't understand how in the fuck that became an issue. Actually, I think Zimmerman is Jewish, no? Well, it sounds very German. And this fellow, I can't tell you what his background is and how on earth he came to have this name. But the fellow who shot Trayvon Martin was a man named George Zimmerman, who is a Latino dude. How that happened, I cannot tell you, but this is facts. But with a name like George Zimmerman, I'm pretty sure a lot of people who were just sort of casually listening to this thought it was a white dude who shot a black kid, right? And then their reaction to that coverage makes any sense. But it wasn't. There was no white dude involved in this. So the idea that that case had any kind of polarization along white-black racial lines made no fucking sense. And yet, that's what happened. Like, my own mother started talking to me about how this kid shouldn't have been wearing a hoodie. I'm like, Ma, I wore a hoodie to high school every day. What the fuck are you talking about? Identity politics is destroying us all. Well, you know, it's our favorite heuristic right now. I think heuristics are the mistake, okay? Because you have to actually look at shit on a case-by-case basis. I was talking about patterns. The patterns that I was referring to, I think, are man-made. They are inorganic. They are in the media, you know, that filters all this stuff for us, okay? Reality doesn't have these patterns, and that's what I'm saying. Excuse me. The human mind tends to want to come up with, you know, kind of, I hate this term, but rules of thumb. You know, I hate that term because I don't know if everybody knows this, but apparently that's how big around the stick was allowed to be that you got to beat your wife with. So I don't really like that saying. But we like to come up with kind of cheat codes for stuff, right? And you just can't do that for a lot of stuff. Life doesn't actually have these patterns. And I think that that's a big part of the reason we haven't noticed this before now is the media is made for us. It is made to reflect the way we think, where the world is not. Okay, so the media seems to make more sense to us than the world does. Which makes perfect sense. But if you don't, you know, think to look at it that way, if you think of the media as perhaps a snapshot representation of something as opposed to filtered, well, it's true, right? And I think if we could, you know, maybe hold on to this and dwell there for a little while and come to terms with that, I think a lot of these issues would start to dissipate. Just as a group. It's manufactured outrage for sure, but it's filtering into the real. Yes. Well, the saying is that art imitates life. And life imitating art is supposed to be some sort of perversion of that. But again, it's that feedback loop. Why the fuck we have all those ancient paintings, like hundreds-year-old paintings and shit, and ancient sculptures and shit in museums? Why the fuck does anybody go to look at that? So they can enter it into their personal feedback loop and make it part of their experience of the world. But like a lot of us don't realize we live in a feedback loop. A lot of us don't realize, you know, you think you see a thing and you perceive it, right? Color is really the thing that puts the light of that, right? And that's a pretty simple example of this isn't green. This is every color but green. It reflects the green back at us, and that's why that's what we fucking see. Right? That's what I mean, okay? Knowing that, you understand that what, you know, your perception is not reality. It's not, which is terrifying, I guess. I don't know. I hit this a long fucking time ago, so I don't remember if that's scary or not. Because this was part of my whole getting out of the I think I'm secretly a man inside thing 15 years ago. So, I don't really, it's been a while for me. Uh, Also, I have this thing where I just kind of dissociate. Uh, just organically, I've done it since I was a kid, where I just kind of step back from the world, and I'm not really in it anymore. I don't necessarily recommend that as a coping mechanism for anyone. I don't think it's super healthy, but it does. It has allowed me the level of detachment to notice this myself. I noticed this myself a long time ago. That like my perception of stuff can alter drastically. Just my perception of stuff can be very different from one moment to the next. Forget what the fuck is actually out there. So yeah, I don't know. Maybe the idea that your perception isn't actually reality is terrifying to people. Is that it? Is that the problem? I went under the sea in a little submarine and all the colors completely changed. That's when I realized the color doesn't actually exist. It's how we perceive the light. Yeah, right. There's a lot of different ways to demonstrate that. I think Newton's was with the crystal, right? Yeah. And that's a weird one, isn't it? And it's so simple and basic, and there's nothing anybody can do to argue with you about it. So, and I think that a lot of that applies. It applies to a lot of the world, a lot of reality in general. Okay, your perception is worth having. It's worth doing. You know, seeing those beautiful colors and maybe painting them in a painting. That's worth doing. But what the fuck? Are you serious right now? What? Fuck off. Oh my god, they were honking at a dog in the street. That dog is in the street every day. He will move. I promise. What the fuck? Okay. Um But yeah, that is really cool. How did you get the opportunity to go down in a submarine? That's a good question. I mean, it wasn't what's his face with the oh god, what's that guy's name? Come on, he died. What's his name? Um he had a hell of a name too. Oh, Rush, Stockton Rush. It wasn't one of his, was it? Oh my god. No, you survived the experience. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I can't. I watched something about that dude. You want to talk about narcissism? Oh my god. This is a man who didn't just think that's a waste of time. He said so to a microphone in front of a camera. Like, what the fuck? So not only did he believe these crazy things, he was so far gone that he thought it was perfectly fine to believe these crazy things. On holidays, they did a tour to see giant rays in the ocean. Obviously, it was a yellow submarine, Beatles style. Oh, obviously. Okay, cool. That's awesome. I'm not going to ask if you found Lucy down there because she's in the sky, right? Obviously. Glad it wasn't to the Titanic recently in any case, right? That's what I'm saying. Oh my God. You want to talk about someone who was a dangerous, narcissistic individual? The fact that he managed to get himself killed is manna from heaven. Okay? Because usually those guys end up killing other people, don't they? He did that too, but too often those guys end up just kind of left holding the bag going, but I didn't do anything wrong. Well, and I hear the Titanic is finally getting ready to like collapse itself, or maybe it already did. So, we're not going to have any more of that nonsense. Like, we don't need to go visit the motherfucking Titanic. What the? Why does anyone feel the need to do that in the first place? I don't get it. But like, what a way to die. At least it's damn quick. Right. Like, I'm so glad the asshole didn't suffer. Like, I'm glad his passengers didn't suffer. I just, oh my God. I can't even think about them. It's gonna keep me awake at night. Like, what the fuck? That's the kind of thing we should be after. Okay, guys like that. Like, seriously, I mean, oh my. Okay, I think I can relate him back to the topic at hand, though, because you want to talk about someone who is living fucking performatively, right? You want to talk about someone who had no real identity? I don't think he did. He spent his whole life trying to get to space. And then when they told him he couldn't go to space because his eyes weren't good enough to fly, he decided he was going to explore the ocean. Like, the man had there was nothing there, you know, to just be a fucking person. I mean, we all want to have a righteous quest in life, I guess, but like, I don't know. And like, he decided that he didn't want to go to space because he didn't want to go as a tourist. That his way to get up was going to be like to ride with Elon Musk, and he didn't want to do that. That wasn't fucking good enough. He wants to be Captain Kirk or nothing. Pure hubris. Exactly. And so what does he do? He builds a submarine like a fucking spaceship. Did y'all see that episode of Futurama where they go to Atlantis? Like, they addressed this in a cartoon 20 fucking years ago. Because they take a spaceship under the ocean. And, you know, Professor Farnsworth says something about, gosh, we must be under so and so however many atmospheres of pressure. And Fry says, well, how many atmospheres is this ship designed to withstand? And he says, well, it's a spaceship. So, none. You know, and the ship begins to creak, and, you know, like, cartoon. That's a cartoon from 20 fucking years ago. Like, you can't just substitute the ocean for space. Like, that's, no. And I do. I feel like that guy, he had, you know, homed in on, no, it's space shit, so 0 to 1. I'm sorry, did I misquote the episode? My bad. It's a spaceship, so 0 to 1. Yeah, okay. How many atmospheres of pressure were they under? Do you remember? The claustrophobia of either environment would kill me. Yeah, same, girl. Oh my god, yes. You see where I am, right? All the time. Oh gosh, yeah. And that's, you know, I can't be too hard on these people because I know about myself that I am not that guy. No, I wish she was the other type of mermaid. Turned out I loved her, but I wasn't in love with her. Trouble in bed. Yeah. I was back when that show was good. But like, yeah, that guy, Stockton Rush, seemed to have homed in on the persona that he wanted for himself, probably as a kid. He wanted to be Captain fucking Kirk, apparently. Basically. Uh and seems to have spent his entire life attempting to perform that persona. And ended up getting himself and several other people killed in the process. So yeah, that's the kind of shit we should really be going after. That's the kind of shit where it gets just really. You guys have really good memory recall in Futurama. Yeah, we watch it. We rewatch it every so often because it's become a family thing. It's something we can put on that everyone can enjoy. You know. And you'd be amazed how often it's relevant. Like just now, you know, they literally covered the whole spaceships don't go in the ocean thing. Yeah, which is a bit obscure, right? Maybe Stockton Rush should have fucking watched Futurama, and then he might still be alive to torment us all with his, you know, impulsive, compulsive need to be awesome. When that is just a definition of narcissism, I don't know what is. A compulsive need to be awesome? Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, that guy didn't seem to have any just ordinary, like, personality in there. And he seemed to be proud of that. You know, and it's just like, so incredibly unhealthy, and how in the fuck this guy managed to say some of the stuff that he did, and where are the regulators? I know that having a bigger government is like scary to people, but this is what it is for. Okay, government is supposed to provide structure for society, checks and balances, that kind of thing, so that people like Stockton Rush can't make a spaceship and put it in the water like a submarine and kill people. I don't know, scientists, real ones, you know. Someone ought to have to get approval for some shit before you just go sticking people under the ocean. There should be some sort of a, you know, I don't really know exactly how we would enforce this. Like, it's not like every day somebody designs a fucking submarine, though, right? It's not like there's a whole lot of demand for that. But like, if you're gonna be sending up our citizens, I don't know, run down our citizens. If you're gonna be like taking American citizens, I don't know, or just people in general, civilians, of any flavor. Surely there's got to be some sort of that should be illegal. It should be illegal to take people in a submarine that is ill-equipped to survive. Like, that was the worst part about all that for me, is that shit imploded. Not everyone was surprised. That's fucked up. I think everyone should have been shocked by that. There should not have been anyone who expected that. Because if there was, they didn't do it, enough to try and prevent it. Why the fuck were you not screaming from the rooftops that this man's about to kill people? Why the fuck isn't there some kind of agency or some kind of anything? Oh my god, no, I didn't see that. Oh, I've been waiting for something, for a reason to take him on, though. We're finally getting traction here on the channel, so he's clearly somebody's pet. So, I have been, a bit trepidatious about taking him on, but no, I didn't see that. Isn't it a bit late for Woman of the Year? Isn't that usually in like June? Ugh. Oh my god, take him on, please, please. Right, yeah. Right, yeah. And now, that spot was taken very brilliantly by that girl who was, oh my gosh, I wish I could remember her name. I did know it. The one who was doing, making No Way, Please Say That's Not True, who was awarding it, yeah. I want to say this is not the first time Woman of the Year went to a dude. I want to say Laverne Cox or... No, it was Caitlyn Jenner, right? Got that? The first year he was out, right? And I think it was, fucking... the funny fellow with the dark skin. What the fuck is his name? I cannot name today. He's from Ohio, too. I know this. Oh, my God. He had a skit show about 20 years ago. He walked away from it. Oh, my God. I can't think. Anyway, he had his bit about... Yeah, no, not Dylan Mulvaney. No, the, this guy's been part of my personal lexicon for 25 years. I can't think of his name. No, not Drew Carey. He's a black man, honey. It was given out in London by Attitude Magazine, sponsored by Virgin Atlantic Airways. Not huge, but big enough. And woman, not trans. Right. Okay. So it's sort of the, no offense, the British version of Woman of the Year. Like, that, not that makes it less important, but that would be why I didn't hear about it. And why maybe it's happening in October and not summer. That would make sense. Oh shit, I almost had it. Oh my god, I'm gonna have to look this up. This is gonna drive me fucking crazy because he was joking about Caitlyn Jenner had won Woman of the Year first year out. He was the one who made this joke. Holy crap. Dave Chappelle. It was Dave Chappelle, honey. Ricky Gervais is also a white dude. No. Yeah. Dave Chappelle. Thank you. Yeah. Um, you would think with repeated backlash of guys in women's spaces, they would stop stirring the pot and adding more reasons how biological women are being marginalized. Yeah. And the fact that they're not doing the thing that would seem to make logical, rational sense begs the question why, right? And this is the kind of thing I mean. This is why people are conspiracy theorists. Everyone is a conspiracy theorist now because there's clearly some shit going on. And literally the powers that be, the news agencies, anybody with any, who is supposed to have any insight into that kind of thing is sitting there going, no, I don't see anything. Y'all imagining shit. Y'all some conspiracy theorists. Y'all making shit up. I don't see anything funny. What the fuck do you mean you don't see anything funny? And I think that's also part of the reason that so many people have rejected, those mainstream outlets is because they know that they're being lied to. So, they go find something that makes them feel better and all get lied to by somebody else, probably. But, again, this is supposed to be where the regulations come in. This is supposed to be, journalism is supposed to be journalism, and there's supposed to be like a whole thing about that. They have a whole guild, basically, a whole journalism guild, and like they're supposed to have standards and ethics and all of that. They threw that away a long time ago, to the point where it's been long enough that people my age don't even remember that shit. I'm going to be 40 next week. So, this is not a recent development. Okay, but you can go back and watch like old Walter Cronkite broadcasts. They're boring as shit, but Dylan's speech was yet again about his victimhood. He'll be elected president and be taking his victimhood next. It's beyond parody. Right, but so what is it? Does anybody actually, you want to talk about living performatively? I think that's all that dude is doing. I think that's all he's ever done. And people have made this point before. Other people have made this point that Dylan Mulvaney is an actor. Because the battle is already over. The dissenting voices are excluded, vilified, and shouted down. Shameful. Right, for the moment. Okay. But like, again, look at history. The minute you start to rest on your laurels and believe that you have won is the minute that your opposition is gathering themselves in the corner. I don't care who you are. I don't care what you're talking about. Why the fuck do you think we have a conservative, backlash in this country the size of the moon? Because the hippies thought they had won, okay? Like, the New Age movement had thought they had won. The environmentalist movement thought they had won, and they rested. Meanwhile, the conservative right was not. We're going back to the 1970s now, okay? That's just how this stuff works. They're never going to actually get rid of us. Come on. No. And, quite frankly, the more successful they are at institutionalizing this stuff, the easier it will be to sell the idea to younger people coming up that don't know about any of this, that maybe they're full of shit. They are colonizing and planting the flags. This is another flag on womanhood. It's winning a battle, but nothing. Right. And I don't think this is necessarily that particularly important a battle, because it doesn't really mean anything anyway. I mean, the powerful believe the battle is over, as they think they hold power. But the power is in the people, so they keep us divided. Right. But they will slip. Okay? You think about it this way. The warden is still in the prison. Right? You have to actually enforce this stuff. And as a parent, you learn this, right? You want to come you get really angry and you come up with all these draconian, you're going to do this and this and this because you screwed up so bad and blah, blah, blah. But then you have to be the one to enforce that. You're grounded for 6 months. Well, guess who's going to get to enforce that for 6 months, right? Good luck. And that's what we're looking at here. Only, on and on and on interminably. I'm not that worried. I'm not. As far as whether we lost, I'm sorry. Are women not a thing anymore? Did we lose biological reality? No. That's not going anywhere. Battle's still on while women have breath in them. Yes, exactly. They will never win. Because they can't. I mean, really, you want to talk about a world without women? Which, I mean, I am one, so that's a bit difficult to imagine for me. But, you really think that's what men want? Because I don't. I don't. I really don't think that's what men want. A world without women. I think that maybe, they might be like, oh my God, that sounds amazing. But they don't actually want that. Men love women. Men obsess over women. Men do everything that they do. A large portion of the time. Because women. Okay? And if they can't make that part of their lives work, it ruins everything for them. Men don't want a world without women. That's absurd. They don't want that. They don't. They might think they do, but they don't. And you know what? Even your sex robot is not going to be a very good friend. Eventually, you're going to get old. And your sex robot's not going to understand that. Your sex robot is not going to care for you in your convalescent years. It's not. The transhumanists are certainly trying to make us obsolete with artificial wombs. But yeah, men love the real thing. Exactly. They're fighting against nature. They will lose. Because you can't win that. You can't. The thing that worries me is how bad is it going to get, and how bad is that defeat going to be, and how many of us are they going to take down with them? Because the transhumanists are actually some pretty... Like, Elon Musk is a fucking transhumanist. Okay, so... I get and agree with you. I'm just making the point that the system has put in place a mechanism to silence the people who don't conform to the truth. People are self-silencing, right? And I just think that that's only going to continue for so long. And you have to kind of pull out and look at it from the perspective of the group level, which is where we're really working here, right? Excuse me. Individuals are very important. Oh my God, I had a funny thought the other day. So, like, we're going to go back to basics for a second. Bear with me. Freud. Okay, y'all remember Sigmund Freud? You do, whether you realize you do or not, because his lexicon of concepts is very, relevant to the way we all perceive, the way we've all been taught to perceive the world. Your ego, your superego, your id, your repressed feelings, your unconscious drives, all that stuff. That's all Freud. Okay. But his foundational concept of the human psyche was as a struggle between the wants of the self and the wants of society. And I hate to sound like Mrs. Thatcher here, but like, society is not an entity that wants any fucking thing. Society is all of us grouped together. That's what that is. Like, and to personify that as an entity that wants things from you strikes me as childish. Like, this, Freud saw this as the essence of the human persona. It is what causes the formation of the ego and the superego and whatever. This conflict between the individual and society. But, like, society is not really a thing. I mean, it is. We are a group, and that does exist. But it is not an entity that wants any fucking thing. So what the fuck is he talking about? What the fuck are we all talking about? This false dichotomy of the individual versus society. You know, Ayn Rand wrote a couple of books about this, okay? This has become a foundational conflict in our minds. And what the fuck are we even in conflict with? Our fucking selves. As a group. That's all that is. So, I really, really feel that some of our basic conceptions of the way this stuff works are just off. I really do. But so if society is not an entity per se, then you cannot yoke it either. Okay? And if you think you have, you're mistaken. Women's rights in society is a real thing. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. I'm not saying society is not a real thing. It is all of us as a group. It is not an entity separate from us, is what I'm saying. Okay? It's not over there. We are all in it. We are all it. And yes, women have certain material needs that we need seen to, regardless of whatever anybody else feels about that. And basic human rights state that we, should have access to the resources we need for our physical needs. Yep. And that's true of anyone. Not just women, but women in particular have certain material needs, predictably. Yeah. And that is obviously influencing on us as a group. I'm not trying to say that rights are not a thing. But who enforces them? Right? Okay, because George Carlin was right. Rights are not really a thing, they are privileges. They can be taken away. If somebody with the authority to do so decides to do that, they can and they do. Okay. But so I think that's where, this idea of the individual versus society, the government can't possibly be serving you. If the individual is the only next, node of personhood, because you're not a part of society, it's over there. It's an entity that wants things from you. You're not a part of it. Then all of a sudden, the government, any sort of we have to push back against those in our society who seek to harm children and erase women. It's a David and Goliath story told all this time. Right? And I guess what I'm saying is that I think a lot of that Goliath is an illusion. Okay? Because that's not an entity over there. We are all a part of it. We're all part of the Goliath. Okay? So, if you stand up as an individual, you're just one individual, but you might knock over the domino next to you, who might knock over the domino next to them, and boom, 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 and all of a sudden their Goliath is on the ground. Okay? That's what society is. They can't actually yoke that. They can't actually tame that. Human beings have to tame themselves. Which brings me back to some of the patterns and the stuff in the media, but that's my own personal conspiracy theory, because that's what I'm saying. I think everyone is a conspiracy theorist these days, because that's the only way you have any feeling that you have any idea what the fuck is going on, is by trying to put it together yourself, right? Because no one out there is actually doing that. But yeah, the idea of society as some kind of a separate entity from you is so incredibly destructive and pernicious. And thanks a lot, fucking Freud, for that one. I mean, really, maybe that was how he felt. I think he definitely, it's so funny. The amount of projection in his work from the guy who coined the term is pretty funny to me. Um, because he lived in Victorian Europe. You know, they were a little tight laced over there. They were a little straight laced. They were a little what you call stuffed shirts over there. Like perhaps he did feel conflict from his society like that. Maybe he did. It didn't occur to him that might not work the same way for everyone everywhere at all times. I mean, the idea that Victorian society was perceived as a behemoth all of its own. I mean, fuck, it still is. That makes sense. But, like, that's not how that's supposed to work. That's not how that organically works. And the idea, I think, that Victorian society was not its organic form, I don't think that's going to strike anyone as outrageous, right? Come on. Actually, people are doing research on the money behind the trans movement. It isn't conspiracy at all. They do it out in the open. Jennifer Breilack has done great research on this. Yes. Yes. You're right. I actually discovered her years ago. Mm-hmm. And that is some fascinating and terrifying stuff. I had never heard of the Pritzkers before that. But, yeah. And see, the thing about this is, I mean, you want to talk about conspiracies. They happen. They do. And all that really entails is a group of people working together towards a goal. It doesn't have to be, nefarious. But, like, why are they adding, and this is something that she asked, you want to talk about following money. Why are they dumping all this money into LGBT healthcare? Homosexuality does not require medical treatment. So who the fuck are all these children's hospitals for? Who the fuck are all these new hospital wings for? Not gay kids, hopefully. Because homosexuality does not require medical treatment. And that's one of the worst, scariest things about transness is it does require medical treatment. And like it's you can see the gear skip. I can see the gear skip when they say to themselves, okay, here's a kid with a mental problem. Let's get them hormones. What the fuck are you talking about? Here is a kid with an emotional issue. Let's let them tell us what we ought to do about it. What the fuck are you... What? How on earth you get from one to the other? There is not a logical step there. What's that quote? You don't need conspiracy where interests and money? I'm going to guess money. Is it money? But, and I'm sorry, but I've met humans. I've known a few. And with all of this extra power and all of this extra money and all these extra resources floating around lately, you really trying to tell me you don't believe that there might be some people out there trying to get as much for themselves as they can? Because that's really all we're talking about, right? I actually can't remember. Okay. Let's see. Yeah. You don't need a formal conspiracy when interests converge. That's George Carlin, too. Oh my gosh, man. There is a reason we should all take better care of ourselves. Because I wish he was still here. Oh my God, I wish he was still here. Oh, George, honey, you left us too soon. Oh my God. You don't need a formal conspiracy when interests converge. That's what he said. Now he would have a freaking story. I know this would probably kill him. But like you go back and I've gone back, I've watched his last couple stand-ups, it's bad for you. It's all bullshit and it's bad for you. I'm like, oh my God, dude, you have no idea. Oh my God. Oh, and he was such a crank there at the end, and it would have been so great to watch him unleash that crank on, and watching Dave Chappelle do it was almost as good. But I don't know. There was something about George. He just always knew what the fuck was up somehow. I don't know. Ah, well. At least we have what we have, thank goodness for modern media. I can go back and watch all those old stand-ups, even though he's been dead for like 10 years, right? At least. So we haven't really lost him. So thank goodness for that. Thank goodness for recorded media. Like, I don't even want to, I've thought about that sometimes. That ever blow your mind? Like most of my favorite music was recorded before I was born. Half of it was written by people who were dead before I was born. That shit blew me away when I first really, caught on to that as a kid. I have to go, but thank you for chat. We'll join again if I can. Okay, Susie. Mwah. See you next time. I still got somebody in here, right? I want to say you're still here, Big Plans. Philological was here. And a couple other people just sort of lurking there. Is it really that interesting listening to me ramble? Because, more power to you. But I had no idea that I was anything like that interesting. Bye, Susie. Have a good day. Says Big Plans. But yeah, everybody's a conspiracy theorist now because there's a bunch of stuff going on that is very weird, and no official explanation for most of it. And half the time we do get an official explanation, it is weird itself, right? I don't in a way it's kind of cool. Yeah. No, yeah. So everybody isn't lockstep, following the same storyline, and that is interesting. The problem is that it's terrifying people. The problem is that I don't think people are prepared to necessarily figure it all out for themselves. That's certainly not, that's not what we're told to expect. And when you try to do that, people wag their finger at you and call you a conspiracy theorist. So, not me, because I think that's kind of, it's necessary and natural. The individuals are going to try and make sense of the world around them, right? And I think a common thing is that someone will experience something so far out of their purview that it traumatizes them. And then they're left scrambling, to explain that and fit it in. And that becomes the focus of their personal conspiracy theory. You know what I mean? I've been into conspiracy for a long time. At one point I dropped it and now I've picked it back up because of what's going on. Right, yeah. I was never into conspiracy theories, but Well, my parents are weird, so they had weird friends, and like I heard this shit at parties. Okay, the weird shit, the I was always the kid who's like, oh, the grown-ups are talking quiet. I want to go hear what that is. So like, I heard the conspiracy theories 25 years ago, half of which have been proven to be fucking true. My favorite one is about Nixon and the drug war. That was a wild conspiracy theory for a long fucking time. Okay, that the Nixon administration purposefully targeted like marijuana users as in an effort to kill the counterculture movement, basically. They knew that back then. And no one believed them, of course. Now it's all been declassified and it has been proven to be accurate. That's what fucking happened. Is the war on drugs was started by Richard Nixon because he didn't like hippies and black people. So, after that kind of thing, what the fuck? How do you even know? How do you even say, oh, well, that could never happen? Because, well, it did. There's so much we don't know. That's why we have conspiracy. Right. And I don't, I've wondered about that phrase, actually, conspiracy theorist. Like, you want to go back to Futurama again? He's in there too. And one lone conspiracy nut who no one will believe. He's a joke in the Roswell episode. Okay? And he takes a photograph of them standing there and they show it come up as like UFOs in the sky. Okay? This is a cartoon from 20 years ago. The idea of a conspiracy theorist is a nutcase. That person is a nutcase. And we've been shown this again and again and again and again. Or like even examples from mainstream pop culture, stuff that people love. The X-Files. How many of these topics did they touch on in that show? Anything that was on the X-Files is automatically not true, right? Come on, it was on the X-Files. You see how easy that is? Mine's came from Alex Jones. You know what? That guy is one of those people I was talking about, who I think maybe had an experience that was just so far out of his wheelhouse that it kind of traumatized him, and that became like a focus of his personal like need to explain the world. I think, and it's kind of driven him a little nuts over the years, but I think he fits that profile. I think he's one of those. And like, it really upset me the other day. Like, somebody used that clip of him screaming about turning the freaking frogs gay as like a shorthand example of a kook. And I'm just like, but no, he was actually talking about a real thing. And it doesn't matter. He himself has been so thoroughly, and he helped, to be fair. He's kind of a nutcase. Let's just say it, okay? Because I've listened to him off and on for also like 20 years, okay? And like, I mean, he was convinced that George W. Bush was going to declare martial law in 2004. Like, convinced. Okay? And like, logically, he had a point. I was kind of scared there for a minute, and then that shit didn't happen. Thank goodness. But, so, you can be perfectly logically accurate about something and still be totally off base. Right, I used to love Futurama too. I still do, but the good ones. I still love the good ones. There's no reason we can't, right? It's like the sequels to all those old Disney movies. They don't actually exist. That should never actually happen. There's no Aladdin 2. What the fuck are you talking about? And there's no 8th season of Futurama either. Nope, that didn't happen. I think that first episode may be one of my least favorite episodes of anything I've ever seen in my life. That was horrible, and it's not funny. But media criticism is not really why we're here. Because I could go on. Comedy is one of my dearest loves, and when it's good, it is golden, and when it's bad, it's just so sad, and so frustrating. Um, yeah. So when you've got stuff like the Nixon administration actually doing stupid shit like that, right? Yeah, Trump was president on The Simpsons. Yeah, but I mean, again, if it isn't from like the first 10 seasons, I don't think it counts because like at that point the show started to become self-referential in this weird meta way that like because the people who were writing it at that point started to be the people who had grown up watching it, which is unique in television. You don't get that a lot of times. Sesame Street was like the only other place you got that shit, right? And so seasons like 10 through like 20, 25 are weird shit. And they're self-referential to the point where you're like, which one are we even talking about now? Which character arc are we in from 15 fucking years ago that y'all randomly decided to bring back? What the fuck is going on? So I don't know. The Simpsons predicted the future, yeah, but they also predicted like a lot of things because they've had an opportunity to do so. I mean, repeatedly, like but there's another one that broke my heart because like growing up, like they were almost like real people to me. And then, I stopped watching it when I was like 16, 17, right around season 10. And Turn the Freaking Frogs Gay was pretty funny. They made a remix out of it. Yeah, no, I know. But like he was genuinely upset about if you put that into context, what he was talking about was actually happening was that there were chemicals in the water that were because frogs can change their sex. Okay, there were chemicals in the water that were affecting the reproductive cycle of these amphibians. Like this was a real thing. The man may not be the most articulate fellow who ever lived. That's an unfortunate clip. If you just take it, just that one little soundbite completely out of any context, the funny thing is that it was true. Right. That's not the funny thing. The funny thing is that clip has become shorthand for conspiracy nut. I heard it used in that way in a video last week. I wish I could remember what it was. But it upset me. I'm like, dude, tell me you didn't actually do your research without telling me you didn't actually do your research. Because if you look into the context of that clip, it is pretty blatantly obvious that that's not a very good example of Alex Jones being a kook. There are plenty. That's not one of them. Oh my gosh. But like his footage of Bohemian Grove, that shit's wild. And he was the one who got it, and nobody can ever take that away from him. Oh my god. You know what the funniest thing about that is? Somebody else was doing some more research on that more recently and came to the interesting conclusion that most of the people on that roster for that place are deceased now. Like 20 years ago they weren't, but like they have not been updating their roster. Make of that what you will. Those weirdos have been gathering in those woods since the 19th century, so make of that what you will. Yeah, Alex Jones as an individual has been so completely and thoroughly discredited that he himself almost has become byword for conspiracy nut. Alex Jones being a kook is that he sells BS supplements and his fans lap it up. Right. And I don't know the story behind that. I'm gonna guess the man couldn't get a job. I'm gonna guess the man couldn't get a whole lot of sponsors at one point. I'm gonna guess that probably started as a way to support himself because he felt that he was doing something important. Uh, it's clearly gone off into the weeds at some point, right? But you got to try and look like the Titanic didn't start out in a rusty heap at the bottom of the ocean, did it? You got to look at how the fuck shit got to be the way that it is, and sometimes it's a crazy story. But, like looking at Alex Jones now is like looking at the rusty wreck of the Titanic on the bottom of the ocean going, why the fuck does anybody care about that? What bizarre? What? Ew. Context, right? History. Like the shit that happened before you were born, dude. Like, come on. Definitely not a brand approved influencer. Right, exactly. Exactly. So how's he going to support himself doing his important work, right? Like spreading the message. I kind of wonder, was Alex Jones being homophobic about it? Not that I know of. He's not worried about the frogs being gay because being gay is bad. He's worried about the frogs not being able to reproduce because they were all male. Was the idea. I have no idea if Alex Jones is homophobic. He seems like the sort of fellow that's like not even on his radar, but I don't know. Sometimes people like to put homosexuality in their conspiracy theories, don't they? Or like the thing about how the Jews run the world. That's fun. I don't know. The idea that there's any kind of like special solidarity to being gay. There's no special solidarity to being bi. Why would there be, I don't know. You can't tell from looking or talking to somebody. And the same goes for being Jewish, incidentally. So, how exactly that shit makes any sense, I don't know. Oh my goodness. Excuse me. I believe Alex Jones was correct about the frogs. Right. Hi again. Just a quick theory on conspiracy. Has the AI already figured out how to manipulate us to our demise by dividing us and creating a narrative for each group? Oh. Why does it have to be AI? Why couldn't it just be some people that decided they wanted to fucking do that? I'm sorry. I'm not yelling at you. I'm not yelling at you. That's just so frustrating. Why can't it just be people doing what people do? Why does it have to be a computer? Why is it so outrageous to think that human beings might be plotting against other human beings? The chemicals were also causing animals to become infertile. Like in Florida, this is happening to panthers and alligators. Right. But like, try saying Alex Jones was right and not be completely, automatically, immediately dismissed yourself. Right? Try saying that and not being just completely discredited yourself. The Bohemian Grove thing, I would never forget that. Right? Right? And he's the one who got that footage. Nobody can take that from him. He was right about that. And went in and got it and proved it to everybody. Nobody wanted to fucking believe that crazy shit. And now everybody has, nobody can deny it because we've all seen it. And he did that. Nobody can take that from him. But that was 20 years ago. Okay? And I think that he experienced something that was way outside of his wheelhouse that traumatized him. And so he has, become pretty obsessive with trying to explain whatever that was. And I think this is fairly common, actually. And, of course, it would be when we live in a world with a bunch of shit going on that nobody tells us about. The idea that you're going to accidentally stumble upon something that's going to completely fuck your worldview, well, that's actually fairly likely in that scenario, isn't it? And I think I am going to have to cut this at 2. Mary, if you're watching this later, I am so sorry. But I really haven't been feeling well all week, and I'm going to have to go and visit the porcelain throne in a little while, and I don't want to take y'all with me, and I don't think you want to come with me. I think we can all agree. Let's go our separate ways then. But it's true. I gave her the vid. Wait, you gave me the video of Bohemian Grove? Is that what you're saying? Because like I totally found that on that Lore Lodge channel, which is an interest. Those guys are interesting. I think it's better to get nutrients from your food as much as you can, but I see that sometimes it's good to take a supplement. Right. Like I don't think that I don't think Alex Jones is an evil person. Is what I'm saying. I think that his heart's in the right place, but his mind has got lost long ago. By AI, I mean people behind the AI. It's already become a factor in this new conflict. Oh my God. Okay. People just have this. I've noticed that, I've had this conversation over and over and over again where people will sort of walk themselves right up to the line of saying that maybe people are plotting against other people. And then they pull back and they have to come up with some other explanation for it. And it's just so incredibly frustrating. I've literally had people laugh at me and say, conspiracies aren't real. That's not a real thing. What do you mean conspiracies aren't real? What the fuck do you think the Catholic Church is? What the oh no, we do a decent job of eating healthy. I think Alex Jones is a nut. His heart isn't in the right place. He grabs half concepts, scares people, and profits from it. Yeah. Well, maybe it was in the right place at one point then. Because, like I say, from 20 years ago, the evidence is one thing, and then you look at him now, and it's like the wreck of the Titanic at the bottom of the ocean. You think, what the fuck happened with that? You're right. I wouldn't get on that boat now. I wouldn't. No. Look at the sheep digging the Democrats. The sheep digging the Democrats are doing for Joe Biden. The guy is a mess, but they just say, but Trump. But they're awful. Just because Joe is less awful doesn't make him worthy. No, but I don't know if it's like this over there in the UK, but we have been choosing between a turd sandwich and a douchebag for a really long time, okay? That's an old South Park episode. That's still relevant and was at the time and went back. Yeah, the idea of picking the guy who sucks less is pretty standard in American politics, actually, sadly. Um, I mean, and I think the last time that we had an actual choice, nobody knew that we had an actual choice. It was Al Gore versus George W. Bush. Wouldn't you know it? Al Gore has a personality and shit and cares about stuff, but he didn't let anybody know that before the 2000 election, even though he had been vice president for 8 years. Weird and sad, I know. Not that would have, actually gone on anyway. Alex Jones did something similar with Sandy Hook by saying it was right. That's right. That was how he completely and utterly discredited himself, right? But so if you've been living in a world of shadows for 20 some odd years, I don't know. I think humans are naturally tribal, and that's why these communities, especially the internet communities, have been created. Right. It's still not something I would stand behind. Cornel West would be my choice if I was in the States. Is he running? Jesus, he's not running, is he? Right. I think humans are naturally tribal. But again, that's one of those things that we should probably come to terms with about ourselves and stop pretending that it's not true. Oh, no, it's fine. We love one another. No, we don't. We should probably deal with that. Yeah. We can't just decide to love everybody. We have to actually work through our shit. Joe Biden isn't bad. He's a standard business Democrat. As a leftist, he's not my first choice, but I don't think he's bad. I actually don't know enough to comment. Because Donald Trump was president for 4 fucking years, and there at some point in there, I weakened and I backed off. I can't. I'm sorry. Uh, or it might have been the first fucking day in office that Joe Biden decided that women didn't need to exist anymore. And then I come to find out that all he was doing was reinstituting something from the Obama administration, which I'd never even fucking heard about. And that was when I was really trying to stay on top of that shit. So I'm just like, you know what? This is impossible. He is running was with a party I can't remember, switched to the Green Party, but now gone independent. Really? Oh shit, I have a candidate? What? No, that hasn't happened in a long time. What? Oh my god. I hope he gets to go to the debate. That'll be fun. He's a professor. He actually knows how to talk to people. That's going to be fun. Because politicians act like they know how to talk to people, but they don't. They know how to read. They're actors, basically, playing a very, very easy part with no blocking. But like a college professor, like you actually have to hone that. And like if anybody watches Karen Davis, she's a teacher and it shows. Okay. You have to hone your presentation persona in a way, like trial by fire kind of a way as a teacher that just no one else has to, the rest of us don't have to do that. Right? And it shows in their presentation. I would love to see Cornel West get up on a stage with a bunch of fucking politicians. That would be hilarious. He would eat them for breakfast. He is trying to get on the ballot in 40 states. We may have to settle for 30. Which isn't ideal, but he's a man with integrity. Love how Americans take everything to the next level. The puritanical ruse still running strong there. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, roots. Yes, baby. Oh, yes. Oh, yes. What did I say that made you say that? But yeah. His country was founded by Puritans and Freemasons. So, no. We've been at each other's throats since the very beginning. It's fun over here. Yeah. Y'all exported all of your most extreme philosophical schools of thought over here. Good job. Thanks for that. Oh my god. On that note, I'm going to visit with my little glass friend. West is a thoughtful man. I like him as a person, but he compromised. He believes the decolonization bullshit. Not going to happen. Wait, what? I'm actually just going to have to get back into this shit, aren't I? Because now the words are changing and I don't know what that means. Like, thank you for putting that in, Judy. I don't know what that means, though. The decolonization bullshit. What does that mean? Which decolonization bullshit? Hey, there's a solar eclipse today. Cool. Where? Here? You need to. Yeah, I do. I do. I don't know if I have strength. No. I'm going to have to put my big girl pants on and just do it. Who's going to hold my hand? Who's going to hold my hand now that all the talking heads are gone? Huh? Who's going to do that? It means West believes the land you are on is stolen land and there is a movement to take it back. By the Native Americans? I mean, decolonization is undoing the European cultural values. No, right, yeah. So he wants to undo the United States? That's a weird position for someone running for president of said country. No, by anyone who feels their people were displaced. Well, That's not much of a metric. Half the people around here think they're Irish and they're Scot, and they don't even know it because of the Highland clearances. They sent them all to Ireland in the 18th century. Now, not undo the United States, but undo European influence. Oh, the United States. Am I imagining things? Was this country not founded by a bunch of old white dudes? Europeans, right? I'm not trying to be snotty here. I swear, I don't know the background on this argument. But all land is stolen. It's just some people have receipts. Whoa. Yes, white people. Right. Okay. So to undo the Indo-European influence on this continent would be to undo the country. I do not see a way that is not what that means. And I'm not trying to be incendiary or argumentative here. Yeah. Okay. Now, if you wanted to, I don't know, give the natives any fucking say in anything, that would be nice. I could get by that. Queer theory. Right. Queer theory is about white people. No, I know. There's like a racial element to it. But like the oppression points thing, right? Same way they look at Israel-Palestinian conflict, they divide the world into oppressor and oppressed with no nuance whatsoever. And decolonization are related, intersectionality. Right. So it doesn't matter that I'm Scottish? Right? So it doesn't matter that my people were stripped of their ancestral lands and sent from their country by the British government? Does that not matter? They were white. Scottish people are white. But like the British government did not care. That did not matter. It doesn't even matter in Scotland. No, I know. If you're Scottish now, oh my god. No. But if we're talking about decolonization, okay, decolonization of whom, from what, and where, and when? Like that is a big term. Yeah, and like this, like the state of Scotland is. Oh my god, I try not to venture into British politics out loud because I feel like I don't really have room to talk. I'm not, I don't live there, and that's not really my business. But, oh my God. Everything I hear out of there is just, what? What happened to the Scots? They used to have common sense. I don't understand. Wake up, Western man. Wake up. Yes. But so, it's wow, that actually fits really interestingly into my own personal paradigm. Because we're overdue for a big culling, aren't we? Fucking hell. I'm definitely on someone's shadow banning here. I don't see a lot of messages you're reading. I've definitely pissed someone off. I'm so sorry. I never mean to harm anyone here. I think some people just sort of are much more close with who they want to let see their stuff. I don't know if I would take that personally. And I certainly don't have a lot of regulars here who are not able to see one another. You know. Right. And the fact that you two would both be blocked by someone doesn't really make any sense. That's what I'm saying. I don't think it's you guys. I think it is someone being a private person. I'm probably shadow banned. Big plans. Make sure you have all messages and not just top messages. Yes, that too. That too. I literally will not see shit myself, and I'm the channel owner, if I don't remember to put it on live chat instead of top chat. Because why would top chat be the automatic setting? Why would it not think you want to see everything as the channel? Whatever. Judy, I think you're the one people can't see. I don't know if you're shadow, but I can see you fine. And I just read all the messages out loud anyway. So unless somebody does not want me to do that, and they would need to say, because I'm trying to keep the conversation, cohesive. As the person center stage, I try to be the mouthpiece. I tried can be based upon your hobbies. It could be based on nationality. It can even be based on gender and or race. I'm probably oh, and then you took it back. Okay. Thanks, Susie. Just changed that. Yeah, see, so it might be that. Anyways, I don't know what that was, but let me see. Where were we? But so, and see, that's the other thing, is that having to figure it all out yourself makes you paranoid. Because, what you're doing is, like I said, you're looking for that feedback loop with someone else to help you build your concept of yourself and reality and what is going on in an ongoing way. Okay, that's what this is. This is what we're doing right now. That's what you do whenever you talk to anybody. You're looking for cues from them that they recognize what the fuck you're saying and, are in the same paradigm and in the same conversation. You learn things constantly when you interact with people. And that's how we form our concept of ourselves and the world in an ongoing way, which is why, well, one of the reasons why solitary confinement is one of the worst punishments you can do to a human being, because that feedback loop starts to break down very quickly. And you start to lose your sense of yourself and the world psychologically. That's why that drives people fucking crazy. To just sit in a room by yourself, you wouldn't think that would drive you crazy, but it will. And that's why. Because your mind has this symbiotic relationship that's a constant give and take with the other people around you. And gosh, if this isn't gonna mess with that somehow, right? But again, if we're all just individuals and society is a separate entity from us that is over there, then we're not going to understand any of this, right? And you get stuff like, really, like we're gonna worry about skin color, and like, who gives a fuck? I don't care. I'm sorry. I know people are proud of their heritage and their race and whatever, and like, who isn't? But like, that's not. We are tribalists. We are. We all are. Human beings are. America was founded on Freemasons, not right. No, it was the two earliest groups here were the Puritans and the Freemasons. And like, never the twain shall meet there, essentially. Like, philosophically, this country has a split personality, and it has since the beginning. This is where we are. Any reason to divide? Yeah, right. That is what is terrifying about postmodern thought being taught now. They literally don't believe in any shared reality, just everyone's truth or reality. Yeah. Which, like, and this is where we're getting into trouble all over the place now, right? In lots of different ways, which is that relativism has its limits. It just does. Absolutism has its limits, which is where relativism came in, and it was like a breath of fresh air, and it's a brilliant thing, and it is how we managed to take, like, for example, the idea of marriage as a man essentially purchasing a woman for use in his personal legacy building experiment to, the union of two adults to build a life together. Like, that's how we managed to, take one concept and turn it into the other. Okay. Relativism can be good. Revisiting ideas and concepts and readjusting them to fit the way that life now is a good thing. But it only goes so far. Okay? You still have to have the pair bond in order to make the child. So the female person is still going to have to be the one that gestates the child, right? Like, there's just only so far you can take this. And the human mind is an amazingly powerful playground, but there's only so much you can do. Relativism has its limits, and refusing to admit that is confusing the shit out of everybody. If you want to watch an interesting discussion, type in Sean Hannity, Cornel West, and Alan Dershowitz. That happened and the world did not implode? Yeah, that must have been amazing. From a few days ago. Really? Oh my god, yes, I'm gonna have to watch this. Whose platform was this on? Oh my god. Like, not Hannity's, obviously. Personal truth is now fact. Lived experience is a science, even though we can't see the wood for the trees when it comes to how we perceive how we have and should be treated. Right, and it brings us back to what we were saying at the beginning about color. Perception, right? Your perception is not reality. Really? Hannity had Cornel West and Alan Dershowitz on? You're kidding me. The Sean Hannity? Like, someone must have forced him to do that. I do not believe he did that voluntarily. I don't. Sorry. But, that sounds, yeah, I know what I'm watching this afternoon. Shit, yeah. Thank you, Judy. Oh my gosh. Oh, I'm going to be yelling at my screen, aren't I? Ooh, get ready. And here it is about to be 2 o'clock, so I guess I'm going to go look that up here in a minute because, like, I don't know if you guys can hear, like, I'm kind of struggling to talk at this point. And I want to save my voice because I still have to make next week's video at some point this week. Gosh, I had a plan for it too. I'm trying to remember what it was. Sneak preview, sneak peek. I was trying to remember what was it. Oh, I had a plan. I did. Oh yeah. I have a Halloween episode idea, which I don't think that's going to be this week. I think that's going to be next week. Wednesday is my birthday, so I will not be filming Wednesday this week. I guess we're going to be going to see some sights and stuff. He has often had Cornel West on his show. Right on. Hey, sometimes it's good to be wrong. If he's not as close-minded as my impression of him has led me to believe, then that's all to the good, right? Fucking A. Yeah, so I was looking for a calendar, and the calendar's in the phone. Hello? Duh, what the... So yeah, Wednesday's my birthday, so next weekend will be the Halloween episode. Ooh, I got 2 weeks to put this bitch together. Fuck yeah. Okay, so this week we're going to be doing something else. I'm not sure what that is yet. Brother Sean. Cornel West is a favorite of mine, but I also see the value in Thomas Sowell. Right? No, yeah. Even though I don't agree with his conclusions. Yeah, no. Right. No, Thomas Sowell is one of those. Is confusing because he raises some like interesting points and then goes like totally the wrong direction with them. And you're like, but wait, Everyone is brother or sister to him. Oh wow. Cornel West. Everyone is brother or sister to. Oh. Wow, I didn't know they still made those. Going to get my work done. Love you, bye. See you in a little bit. I do like that about him. He clearly is empathetic. Okay. See, to me, that comes off as pretentious as shit. Don't call me sister. You don't fucking know me. To me, that comes across as pretentious as shit. But... maybe that's not how he means it. He clearly exists in a different world than I do. And if he means it, then great. I don't know what that means. Is this in a brotherhood of man kind of way? Is this in a, we're all a children of God kind of way? Wednesday is my 20th wedding anniversary. Oh, happy anniversary. And my wife's birthday. What? I'm a clever narcissist who makes her birthday also a day for me. Oh, that's shit. That's shit. That's shit. You're terrible. Happy birthday to your wife, the long-suffering woman that she no doubt is. But then again, anyone who thinks they should be president of the SEC, oh yeah, oh yeah. And that actually goes back to what I was saying, which is that a certain level of narcissistic traits is healthy. You should have a certain level of self-interest in your own life. Your life should revolve around you. That's probably okay. It's how you mitigate that, with the wants and the needs of the people around you, and how much concern you feel for that. That's the issue. But everyone has narcissistic traits. Everyone does. Everyone likes to, be the center of positive attention, for example. If you do something good, you want a little praise for it, damn it. Who doesn't? Of course you do. And it's healthy. Okay. And it's the dose makes the poison, right? That's what it is. He believes in decolonization, which might not be so empathetic at all. Yeah, see, that was what we were talking about earlier. And I'm going to have to go and watch this interview because he's sympathetic to the decolonization idea. Again, and my own feelings are not in what I'm referring to here at all, but just rationally speaking, if you're running for president of a country, even saying you are sympathetic to the idea of dissolving that country is a little weird, isn't it? Isn't that a little weird? Perhaps he had already espoused this idea before he decided to run for president, and then he's kind of stuck because what's he going to do? Go back on that? Oh my God. But yeah, anyone who wants to be president of the U.S. needs to say no emphatically to that idea. Right, yeah. Because, that's weird, right? That's a conflict of interest, is what that is. Like a big one, a massive one. He's trying to backtrack. Okay, so he said that before, and now he's realizing that those two things don't really go together, do they? No, they don't. How do you come back from something like that? How do you... you want to plant your flag, don't you? Especially as an intellectual person, as a public intellectual, you want to plant your flag. Oh, I'm going to walk to... Oh, yeah, I am. When I get off here in a minute. Because it's 2 o'clock, so I can basically go anytime. But it's always so hard to cut these off. It's always so hard to cut these off because you guys... and then I get on a roll, and actually that's what I meant by tribe. I just wasn't sure if I was spelling it right. What was it you meant by tribe? What is that in reference to something I said? I wish I could remember verbatim everything I say, but I don't. It's a difficult question. We did commit atrocities to colonize this country. It's the truth. Yes, it is a difficult question. And it's one that we have never wanted to grapple with. The idea that we should maybe do that, I'm all for that. I cannot be in favor of the dissolution of the country where I have lived my entire life. That would be extremely disruptive for me and everyone I know. But I'm not giving up my land to the cause. Well, I don't own any, so I can't speak to that. But dissolving the country in which we live would be extremely disruptive to me and everyone I know. So I am against that. Based on that. In any way, I don't necessarily want a revolution either, okay? Because same deal. That while I am clearly passionately concerned and I have my little wheelhouse of topics that I pay attention to, and a lot of it is not war, but I am also trying to live a life. I am also trying to raise a family, so, I would want to try and balance those two things. The pushing of the social issues and the political issues with not destroying everything. I'd really like that. I think most people would agree with that. Man has been warring and taking land since the beginning of time. Yeah. Well, that's true. Okay, I think what you're saying there is how far back do we go? Right? And that's kind of what I was saying. Are you going to give me my tribal lands back in Highland, Scotland? Are you? I don't think so. I don't really want them, okay? Because I never even fucking been there. I live here, right? Like, how far are you going to take that? No, that's a good question. And who gets to decide? Not the British, obviously. I mean, they are the ones that did it in the first place. They're the ones who would have all the receipts for all of that, right? There's an argument to be made there, I think. On the other hand, humiliating the shit out of Germany at the end of World War I didn't actually go real well. So maybe that's not a great idea. You know, it didn't. Who decides this stuff? That is a big. This is something that we need to do slowly as a group. Okay. Unfortunately, tribal mindsets can be a whole lot of us versus US versus them. Did you do that on purpose? Because I've noticed that too. The thing that is different about the US these days is that we are allowing anti American sentiment to grow with anti American immigrants. You would think if you want to come here, and you know what? You would want to assimilate. They do. Listen, I'm speaking of my personal experience here, which is that here in East Tennessee, there's actually a mushrooming Mexican population. Let's stick to Dylan next time. Woman of the Year, yeah. You know what? That's what I'm going to do next week. I'm going to write that down. Thank you for reminding me. Because, oh my God, did I not bring the right notebook? Have I been sitting here all this time without my diary? What? No, that can't be. Oh God. But I got a pencil, so it's okay. I got a pencil. Oh my gosh. All right. Can't put it in that one. There we go. Cool. Yes, I agree about marriage. It is so weird how we flipped it like that. Right, we did though. Okay. So, the idea of reevaluating ideas and concepts can be very potent and powerful, especially for women who, didn't even used to be conceptualized as whole human beings. Okay, so we like that. We like the ability to redefine and revisit ideas and concepts and alter them, as we modern people see fucking fit for our world as it now is. Okay, I just came back in to tell you I'm on the road to Shambhala. I can tell my brother's by the flowers in his eyes. There you go. There's your response to Cornell West, right? And his brother sister thing. Maybe that's why it hits me as, pretentious, because I'm used to be, pretty much a brotherhood of man, white hippie people sort of thing. Pretentious as all hell. Anyway, they hate Jews and they hate the U.S. for supporting Israel. Have you seen parodies of Palestinian Hamas supporters in the streets last week? No, I haven't. Oh my God. There is something that's terrifying in a conflict that I just don't. Oh my God, why? Why? Oh, no, I don't want to know why. Because I know why, and it's stupid. Anyhow, I think the nuclear family is so limited. Well, I think that pair bonding is how you make children. Just organically, just biologically, just naturally. That's just how that happens. You know. Then you end up with a mom and a dad and some kids. I'm not sure how else that works. And again, I'm not trying to be argumentative or like conservative here. Like, I was raised by Wiccans and atheists. I don't care about. I have no like moral, ethical connection to. Like, I'm not. It's the right thing to do. Like, I don't care about it like that. It just seems to me to be the way it works. I don't understand what. Now, if you don't want to do that, okay. If you want to experiment with that, okay. If you want to, tweak that and see if you can come up with something that works better for you, okay. Don't hurt the kids in the process. That does tend to happen a lot of the times, is the adults in the situation get a lot, way preoccupied with the experiment that they're trying to run and what they're trying to accomplish, and the kids are just kind of in it. And this goes for liberal communes and conservative, quiverful family, everybody. When you start to fiddle with that, it becomes more of an object of your attention than it needs to be, I think. If you want to pair off and have a family, great, do it. If you don't, great, don't. If you want to pair off with someone of your same sex, I bet there's some kids out there, if you want some, who would love a loving, caring home. Right? Like, I don't... This is not all... None of this is revolutionary. This is 90s shit. So I don't think the nuclear family is, like, mandatory or anything, because that's stupid. Because if it were, then it would be. Again, nature, like, there are parameters to life. They already exist. We don't have to come up with them. And if there aren't any in a certain area, then you get to create your own. But that's what you did. Right? You made those rules. And that's the thing that we like to forget, is that a lot of these rules, we made them up. We can change them if we want to. If it would serve us, we probably should. Like the whole marriage thing, like all women not being whole human beings, that didn't serve us very well. So we fought against that very hard. And still are, But we've made a lot of progress in that regard, I think. Especially around here. Right? But on the other hand, if you end up in a pair bond and produce a child, you have yourself a little nuclear family there. And it's just sort of how that goes. Please, Teal Woman, I'm asking you, like, what am I missing something? How is that not just how that goes? Like, I don't want to say that's just how that works, because then that sounds judgmental. And I don't mean it that way, but that is just how that tends to go. How that cookie crumbles, And, most people have attraction to the opposite sex. And once you get into any kind of a healthy long-term relationship with someone from the opposite sex, a lot of times other instincts start to rear their heads. You might even all of a sudden find yourself interested in having a family where you fucking weren't before. It's weird. I'm not suggesting this should be mandatory, because it doesn't happen for everyone. But it might. That's what happened to me. Let people be who they are. I'd say most of my friends in their 40s and 50s don't have kids, and that's fine. It's their choice. But a 2-parent family can have massive benefits for all involved. Catch you all next. Bye, Susie. Have a good one, honey. Right. If you don't want to have kids, and I'm going to say this again, I said it 10 times in last week's video. If you don't want kids, please don't have them. No one wants that for anyone. You'll be miserable, the kid will be miserable, and they'll probably grow up to be an asshole. Don't do that. Why should anyone have to do that? What are we, on the verge of extinction? Right? Like, we don't need to do that. There is no reason to make that mandatory. But if that's what you want to do, that is pretty much just kind of how it organically goes. If you, pursue that line, that it kind of has a set course, just biologically. So this very simple, repetitive, organic thing has been piled on by culture. We have a million ideas going way, way, way back to the beginning of everything on top of that idea. But it's where we all came from. I hate to put such a fine point on it, but every single one of us is a result of a pair bonding of this nature. Right? In some capacity. Whether it was a healthy one or not. That's how we all got here. That's why there's all that shit piled on that one little nexus point. because everything else springs from it. If you don't have a pair bond produce a child, you have no people. Someone has to do that. Which, like, I'll tell you how the artificial wombs thing is going to go. Those babies are not going to live. They've done this experiment before. And actually going back to the 19th century again, because we all love that, and I have lived there for the last year and a half of my life, they had these orphanages, where, because if you were an unmarried girl or woman and you had a baby, you didn't get to keep that baby. Like, society decided, everyone around you unanimously decided for you that you were not going to get to keep that baby. Nobody was a parent who dreads parenting. It's a tough job, but most things that are worth doing usually are. And you know what? Sometimes I dread interacting with my kids. Don't say that. Like, you have to forgive yourself for your negative feelings. Nobody wants to be a parent who dreads parenting. Well, okay. I don't know. Courage is not the absence of fear, but acting in spite of it. Right? You can dread the fuck out of something and still want to do it, but you know that it's a big deal and it's going to be hard. People can hold conflicting feelings about things, and I think we should be able to forgive ourselves for that. It's what you do with them. Which one are you going to act on? Are you going to act on that dread and run away? I feel like there's a lot more likelihood of it sneaking up on you if you don't acknowledge that it's there. So, just my 2 cents. I guess I don't like making proclamations against whole feelings, because good luck. The minute you've told yourself you're not allowed to feel a thing, that's the minute you're going to begin feeling that thing, right? Come on. Don't think about pink elephants. Don't you dare. Right? Come on. That's not how that works. Like, Dr. Jekyll could tell you that. Right? You need to integrate your shadow. We all know this. But, like, I feel like I was talking about something else. Doggone it. I gotta go anyway. It's after 2 o'clock. Most people have already left us. But you know what? I think it might just be me and you, Big Lance. But like I was going to say to Teal Woman, I'm genuinely going to think about that. She never answered my question, but I'm not talking fleeting emotions. I mean, those who perpetually hate being in their kids' spaces, of course, they said, oh, God, when hearing this door open, they give me the best of joy. Okay. Well, and I think that, see, Abby is one of those people who makes me think that we should be careful what we say. Because there are naive people out there who take all that shit to heart and cause themselves great distress, I think. Oh, I saw something the transformed wife said, actually, in fucking Kilgore's video, was about how self-pity is satanic. Like Abby was talking about not going to the pity place. Maybe that's why she doesn't want to go there, because she thinks that's where Satan lives. Like, she can't allow herself to feel her negative feelings because that's Satan. That's terrifying and so incredibly unhealthy. And just, so there are naive people out there who take this shit to heart, and literally will look at their little flaws and like magnify the fuck out of them just because they exist and they don't think they should. So, maybe I just need to go touch grass. Maybe I just need to get away from the screen for a little while. Because you're probably right. You're probably just being normal, and I way overreacted to that. But yeah, I wanted to say, I think Teal Woman has left us, but I wanted to say that I'm going to be thinking about the nuclear family is limited. See, I've heard this. I've heard this so many times. She didn't answer my question, but I'm going to see if I can't find one. Because it seems like a baby with the bathwater situation, if you'll forgive the pun. You know, to just take this idea of a pair bonded, with a kid thing and just throw it away because we don't like all of the cultural bullshit that's become attached to it seems to me to be both short-sighted and impossible. So, yeah, I don't know. We might have a video there too one of these days. It's an interesting topic to me. What do you think? And then I'm going to have to go because I have to go. You have done a great job doing 2.5 hours of podcasting. You are really coming into your own with keeping the flow and relevance. Oh, thank you. Thank you for noticing. Yeah, getting better at staying on topic. Thank you. And I hear some podcasts are just absolute bullshit, right? Like a couple of dudes on a couch shooting the shit about their moms or whatever, like bullshit, right? Like dumb shit. Like who the fuck wants to listen to that dumb shit, Really though, I mean, do you think there's something in the nuclear family itself that is a problem? Do you think it's something we could ever do away with? Like actually? What would that do to our identities as human beings? That's what I was saying about the orphanages. Back in the day, they had this idea that little children didn't need touched. And the babies in those orphanages died because no one fucking cuddled them. It's really that simple. So, this idea that they're going to just do away with motherhood with some fake wombs, like, okay, but those babies will die. That's what will happen. Because a baby needs a mother. And every single human being starts out as a baby. So, yeah, I don't know. Good luck with that, guys. You watch. I'm going to have hung around long enough. Mary's going to show up and then I'm going to have to go. I think an honest Bob's union is very healthy. Okay. Especially as we age, it is great to think you have a person who knows you and will support you. And advertising can give you strength. A no BS. Right. Okay. Right. Just an organic pair bond. Which does happen, And frankly, it's something we all wish for, right? The fuck you think romance is? Adversity. Right. Support you in it. Right. Exactly. It's not very exciting, though, on a day-to-day, and you have to learn to compromise and, like, allow that person to affect who you are. Oh, my God. So hard, right? Relationships are, like, hard on junk. And they are. But so, and that would be a very basic part of humanity. And that was what the gay rights movement was actually about, right? They wanted that. That's what gay marriage is. They wanted that. They wanted the very basic human want to be able to pair bond long term with someone who they care about and trust. That's what they wanted. intuition at its core is what marriage is. Which, again, I grew up in a secular environment. Like, Wiccans do not give a shit about marriage. Okay, I don't know if you're aware of this, but they don't. Uh, so, again, personally, I have no deep moral feeling on this topic. I just don't. Now, if you did get married to someone and promised in front of all your friends and relatives and the God you believe in to love them forever, you should probably try and do that. That's just integrity. And I didn't tell you to do that. And I wouldn't. I didn't, like if, if that's your idea of a good time, then do that. But like, why is any element of a lifestyle mandatory? What the fuck is that? How is that anything other than just insecurity? Anyway, I'm gonna try and find something on that topic. Because, I mean, I could just write myself a script, but like, it's so much more fun to respond to someone. And I've seen people say that response content is theft, and like, I don't think that's what I do. I'll just sit there and watch somebody play a video game and go, oh, whoa, I don't do that. So, yeah, 2 weeks, we got a fun Halloween episode coming up about occultism, and maybe next week something on pair bonding. That could be fun. Right now I'm going to have to go, though, and I'm going to have to go, like, Miss Mary. Oh well, because nature is a harsh mistress, right? What can we say? So, thank you so much for hanging out with me all this time. Like, you're the last man standing, and I'll see you next week. Okay? And, yeah. Stay cool over there. It's evening over there, so. Oh, thank you. Yeah, and you have a good anniversary. I would say tell your wife I said happy birthday, but she doesn't know who I am. But yeah, have a good week, man. See you later. Bye.